My pleasure to welcome everybody this afternoon. This is quite an event. We're just thrilled that there's been such outpouring, both for our honoree and for the agency, and we're delighted. For those of you who may not be particularly familiar with what JLV does, and I assume there are a couple of you anyway, let me just walk you through very quickly, because we have a full afternoon and I don't want to waste a lot. You don't want to hear a lot from me, you want to hear from others. So what we do is we work with Jewish educators, and we do that through what I would refer to as creative innovation, on how to give teachers the tools and resources they need to make Judaism more meaningful to their students. We continue to run the J-Kid Philly program, which does everything from PJ Library to handing out all those books that go with it, and through the leverage of using parent ambassadors, we touch many, over 7,000 children in the Philadelphia area. And we also do, as you well know, and that's why we're here today, disability inclusion. And that'll be a significant part of what we'll be discussing today, helping train all kinds of people who contact both the synagogue and through educators, how to help those with disabilities be active participants and full participants in their Jewish lives and in the community. I urge you, if you haven't already been to it, to go to jkidaccess.org, which is a new website on this, and there'll be a lot more information available to you there. I'm enormously proud of what JLV does. I'm happy to be a part of it, particularly this year when life, as we all know, has been a little bit upside down because of this wonderful, not so wonderful pandemic. And to that end, I want to thank the entire staff of JLV under the leadership of Gabby and Anna, who have done a spectacular job, not only in connection with this event, but throughout the pandemic. And we're delighted that they've been able to step up to the plate in what have been less than ideal circumstances. Particular thanks to the chairs of the event, Jamie and Barak Bassman, Richard Busis and Judy Beck, and to the honorary chairs, Rabbi Dale Friedman and David Ferliger, and to Juliet Spitzer and Phil Wax, to the entire Stein family, and most especially to Rabbi Margot Stein for agreeing to be the honoree, who's been an inspiration for lots of what we do. And to that, I will let this go on to the program as designed. Thank you for the time.
Thank you so much, Walter. I am pleased now to bring you a special musical piece performed by Rabbi Margot with guitar by Rabbi Sean Zevit.
Eloheinu ruach haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'tzorchei tzibur la'asok b'tzorchei tzibur la'asok b'tzorchei tzibur la'asok b'tzorchei tzibur la'asok b'tzorchei tzibur. Blessed be the source of us all, who inspires us to answer the call. Open our hearts to serve this way with hands that can help and feet that can pray. La'asok b'tzorchei tzibur. La'asok b'tzorchei tzibur. La'asok b'tzorchei tzibur. Open our hearts to serve this way with hands that can help and feet that can pray. La'asok b'tzorchei tzibur.
It is so humbling and exciting to see you all here today as we honor Rabbi Margot and her incredible work in helping us to begin and sustain whole community inclusion. I'm going to share with you now about how this initiative came to be. As many of you know, the Auerbach Central Agency for Jewish Education had a long commitment to special education for Jewish children and was guided by consultants Sharon Schanzer, Shelley Rosenberg, and Debbie Geddes. This work continued when ACAGE and JOP merged agencies to become Jewish Learning Venture. During Debbie Geddes' tenure, she created the Rita Emerson Fellowship Teen Assistant Program to train teens from local congregations to learn skills to support children who need learning or attention support in Hebrew school. Among other accomplishments, Debbie also started a consortium of local agencies working on behalf of people with disabilities in the Jewish community. And she created a community-wide disability awareness conference. In 2011, when Debbie left the agency to pursue another position, I had recently joined the staff and was working on our JKID Philly team and leading professional development for educators. Rabbi Phil Warmflash, JLV's chief executive officer at the time, approached me about leading the TAP program that year while the agency regrouped and considered its future work in special education. At that time, I had been having many conversations with Margot about what families raising Jewish children with disabilities needed, not only to be included, but to be embraced and supported by our Jewish community. When my own son, George, who is now almost 18, was diagnosed with autism at age 3, it was Margot, Miriam, and their amazing family who were our first guides and supports. Because of Margot and Miriam, we were able to find a Jewish preschool education for George and to imagine the possibilities of what might be for our son and our family. As Margot and I began to dream, we wisely expanded our circle to include 2 more amazing thought partners who helped us to envision whole community inclusion. Rabbi Michelle Greenfield, who has extensive experience in tutoring and supporting children with a wide range of learning and cognitive disabilities in learning Hebrew and Jewish studies, and also Jamie Bassman, an occupational therapist who was immersed in thinking about how her work as an OT could be applied to Jewish education. The 4 of us each brought unique perspectives and skills to creating whole community inclusion. Rabbi Michelle shared her expertise in working with children. Jamie brought her knowledge about how to create functional supports. I brought my experience as a program leader and a Jewish educator of many years. And Rabbi Margot, as you know, is a community advocate, a pastoral counselor, and also a fundraiser who was willing to put forward funds from the Stein Family Foundation in order to support this dream. What is it that we imagined the community needed yet that didn't exist? Well, first we thought about families. Well, JLV's JKID Philly initiative created low barrier public space programs open to all families. We knew that some families needed additional supports in order to participate. We imagine sensory-friendly settings that would be great for children who might get overwhelmed by the types of events we held in malls, museums, or other loud, busy places. We also knew that parents needed resources and support for bringing Jewish rituals into their homes. And we envisioned creating seminars and webinars to give parents that kind of guidance. Because both Margot and Michelle brought extensive experience tutoring all kinds of students for B'nai Mitzvah, they also recognized the need for training for tutors and for clergy about how to create modifications and accommodations for B'nai Mitzvah for young people with disabilities. We approached Rabbi Phil with a proposal for whole community inclusion, and he eagerly agreed that applying the lens of inclusion to all of Jewish Learning Ventures' work was critical. Margot stepped forward with the funds to start our work, and we were also graciously supported by the Bassman family, the Lasko Family Foundation, and many other generous supporters who have joined us along the way, including the Jewish Federation of Greater Philadelphia, the Covenant Foundation, and many individual donors, including all of you here today. Since 2013, whole community inclusion has made an impact in creating a more inclusive Jewish community in many ways, including that creation of the B'nai Mitzvah tutor training. The start of our new website that Walter just shared, jkidaccess.org. We're also creating curriculum and training to make family engagement and accessible and inclusive in all communities. We've created professional development for clergy. We started J-Dame Shabbat across Philadelphia to encourage every synagogue in the greater Philadelphia area to dedicate a service during February to disability advocacy and awareness. We've created the Inclusion Specialist Network. We've continued and grown our TAP program, expanded the Disability Inclusion Consortium, and most recently have created a new webinar series called Everyone's Welcome that brings you amazing disability inclusion thought leaders to your Zoom screen twice a month. I hope you'll join us. You will learn more about the impact of WCI in the images and videos that you're going to see during our time together. And as you watch, know that none of it would be possible without the incredible human being who is my friend, Rabbi Margot. And now I'm pleased to share with you a special video presentation about Margot and more about the WCI program that she's made possible and kept going all of these years.
I feel like it's really important because a lot of other kids, they just don't realize, they're like, oh, he's weird because he learns different. But at the same time, he might learn different because he just has a different mindset.
Many of our Hebrew schools were created in the years before kids with disabilities were part of our communities. And so teachers who've been teaching for many years may just in the last 5 to 10 years be encountering kids with a variety of cognitive or learning challenges. And we want to make sure that our Jewish spaces have the resources and the support so that when any child comes into that the school is ready to receive them. And through our initiatives, we're making sure that our Jewish spaces are ready.
Kids with special needs just want to be part of what's happening around them. So as congregations become more welcoming spaces, as religious schools become more comfortable with having children with IEPs in their classrooms. So the work that we're doing is desperately needed in the Jewish community and greatly appreciated.
After TAP, I've never been more open with people. It's actually made me a lot more social, a lot more agreeable and helpful. And in general, I feel like it helped me with time management and getting to know more about not just my brother's disability, but also other people's capabilities and disabilities.
As a parent, it's been very important to me to know that my children have a place where they can grow and learn and be themselves, and especially to have a Jewish space in which to do this. Everyone has their own definition of what that would be, but for us, we found that through Folkschule, and Roman has definitely found that through TAP.
It's not a one-size-fits-all. If it were, it would be much easier to do. But every synagogue we know, and every school and every camp has its own culture. So it's sort of helping everyone think about the tools that they need to make their setting the most accessible and inclusive.
The success of this program is about changing hearts, right? Opening hearts and minds to welcoming our families with special needs members into the community in a fuller way.
I see through whole community inclusion that we are absolutely building momentum. We're reaching more families. We have the largest number of teens in our TAP program this year, more synagogues taking part in our JDAME programs. But it's essential that we keep this going. We need to make sure that we're continuing. We want to make sure that we're touching everyone. We need the resources to get there, and we need to keep our motivation going.
If you're a parent of a child with special needs and you feel like the doors of the Jewish community have been shut to you for whatever reason, I want to say, these doors are open to you. These doors can be opened. We are a tribe in a certain way, and we are there for each other, and we have each other's back. And I like to think that those of us with older kids with special needs are especially here to help and support the younger ones coming in, to help those parents to feel more comfortable and to help them find their way. So I'd like to say to those parents, we are here for you. We care about you, and we hope that our programs are putting you at the center so that you feel like your needs are being met and you're being welcomed with open arms.
We have been wonderfully accepted, and he's been fully included as a student and now as an assistant in a way that he is able to access and fully engage in what they're offering. We have turned around because of a community that does accept differences and has been willing to adapt their strategies in order to engage everyone.
I would like to thank you, Gabby, for having me in the program and by your side. Just to kick this off the right way, I would like to donate $400 to the Whole Community Inclusion Project, and I hope you guys can do the same thing.
That video is really a beautiful tribute to you, Margot, and what we began. So I'm going to invite everyone to share now in the chat what you learned about in the video or what moved you from the video. And while you do that, I'd like to introduce our next very special presentation. I'll turn it over to my friend and colleague, Rabbi Michelle Greenfield.
Hello, Margot, Mazel Tov. Congratulations. It's so nice to be able to be here to honor you, but really, I'm here to honor Rafi. So I believe Rafi is here with Miriam. I'm going to take a second to find Rafi on my screen.
Rabbi Michelle, he's with Margot now.
He's with Margot now. Great. So Rafi, I'm here to honor you for all of the ways that you help in our community. So Rafi, I've known you for a long time, for probably more than half of your life. And you have always had a deep spirit of helping. Somewhere deep in your neshama, you are somebody who always wants to help people. You always want to know what people need. You always want to know what help you can give for people and for animals. We saw you in that video helping as a referee. We know that you are always making sure that people know where to go, that people know where to park in our communities, that people have enough food and drink at whatever event is going on. And Rafi, I am so grateful that last year you approached me to ask me if you could help me by volunteering at Kol Tzedek. You asked me if you could work with me, if you could help. And that was such an amazing gift for you to be able to come into our community as a helper. You, Rafi, came on Shabbat mornings to help at Camp Shabbat Shalom. And Rafi, in the times that he was there, took kids to the bathroom, made sure everything was clean, made sure everybody had what they needed so that they could learn and so that we could teach Torah. So Rafi, the biggest mitzvah you did was possibly facilitating all of the learning of Torah that was happening there. You freed up me and Eli as teachers to teach by taking care of all of the other needs the kids had. And you freed up the kids to learn by making sure that they knew that if they needed more water, you would be there with more water. And if they needed somebody to walk down 2 full flights of stairs to the bathroom, you were there going up and down those stairs, making sure kids got to where they were going. So as a thank you, I want to present you with this certificate. It says, Jewish Learning Venture celebrates Rafi Stein class for his leadership and support in working with Rabbi Michelle Greenfield at Kol Tzedek Synagogue. Yasher Koach, Rafi.
Thank you.
And to say thank you for all of the work you've done. And we're so excited that once we can be together in person again, we know you'll be back helping us again.
Hand me the certificate. Hand it into the camera.
Oh.
Oh, thank you. Here it is.
It's magic.
Magical moment for you.
Mazel tov, Rafi. Thank you for all of your help.
No problem.
Let's give Rafi one of these. Everybody's going like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafi. Mazel tov to you. Thank you, Rabbi Michelle, for that beautiful presentation. And I'm going to ask you now to get your gratitude sign. You can see mine. I know with the background it's a little hard, but it says, I'm grateful to Margot and to all of our whole community inclusion donors. And we're going to invite you to hold up your sign to share about who you are grateful to today.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Ya la 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 la, ya la ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Ya la 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 la, ya la ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la.
Thank you all for sharing your gratitude. I am now thrilled to introduce to you a brand new piece created by Mirage for this occasion.
B'Tselem Elohim, 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 created
Source of life, you created human beings in your image with B'Tselem Elohim. Each one of us a unique creation, genetic material that holds a neshama, a soul that is pure. Our bodies and our minds are different and diverse creations, full of strengths and vulnerabilities, talents, challenges, abilities, struggles. Some of us born into our bodies needing help to move, to see, to hear, to talk, to eat. Some of us will take our bodies and minds for granted until they change with age, reminding us that there are times when we all need support. The human body is a vessel that we can see, but deeper, what is constant and in common among us all is the unseen, the souls that you have placed within us. Mekor HaChaim, source of life, help us to encounter one another as that pure soul created in your image, that we see ourselves and one another as B'Tselem Elohim.
Mekor Chaim, source of life, you created human beings in your image. B'Tselem Elohim.
So as Margot shared, I was going to share later, I wrote that blessing in honor of Margot, in honor of this occasion. And then Margot turned it around and honored me by setting it to music. So it's really very moving, Margot. And Mirage, Rachel, and Juliet, thank you for your beautiful voices. Rabbi Dale Friedman has a wonderful introduction for you, Margot. She was so sad that she couldn't be here in person with us today, but we have a message from her all the same. Here we go.
Shalom, everybody. It is such an honor and a privilege and a treat to get to offer words to honor beloved Margot Stein. And I've been thinking about this for weeks, and as I've thought about what to say about Margot, for some reason a particular phrase from the Psalms kept rolling around my brain. And the phrase is the end of Psalm 81, which says, Umitzur devash aspieka, and with honey from the rock I will satisfy you. Now, we have to unpack what honey from the rock might mean to understand what that might have to do with our dear Margot. So, honey pouring forth from a rock suggests pouring forth nourishment. Margot's generosity is obvious to anyone who's had contact with her friendship, as I'm blessed to have for many, many decades, with her cooking. I don't know if you know this, but Margot is known affectionately as the Kitchener Rabbi, because part of her Torah comes out through her cooking. Through Margot's impactful philanthropy, her generosity pours forth, and through her loving care. Margot simply personifies chesed, abundant love. Honey from the rock is also finding sweetness amid an utterly forbidding surround. Margot, who has known loss and sorrow no person should ever face, has emerged as a source of light and life. Margot is a teacher extraordinaire, a passionate activist, and now a powerfully gifted healer and psychotherapist. Sweetness coming from the hardest place. Honey from the rock. Now, if we were to encounter sustenance pouring forth from a rock, just something basic, let's say water, for example, we would be amazed. We would say, Dayenu, it would have been enough. But the promise of the psalmist is not that we'll get water from a rock, amazing enough, but that we'll get honey from the rock, something beautiful and delicious. The promise of honey from the rock suggests providing not just the basic, but something elegant, beautiful, ennobling. As a musician and a writer, Margot is not just an artist, but a teacher of Torah. She composes and sings melodies that bring biblical texts and Jewish ritual to life, melodies that, once you've heard them, will stick with you, like honey. But Margot brings enrichment and beauty through her groundbreaking leadership in approaching members of the Jewish community with disabilities. Margot's vision for life for Jewish people living with disabilities is not just that they should exist, not just that their basic needs should be met, which would be Dayenu if there really were housing, if there really were employment, if there really were adequate income. But Margot's vision is far beyond that. Her vision is that people living with disabilities should have joy, challenge, and meaning through access to Jewish education and celebration, and through opportunities to contribute their own gifts to the community they are part of, like Rafi being honored today. We cannot count the number of individuals and families who have had dreams fulfilled the way they hadn't even allowed themselves to imagine. My child could have a bar mitzvah. My child could read from the Torah. We cannot imagine the communities that have been transformed through the message and the fact of whole community inclusion, thanks to Margot's vision. Dearest Margot, you have brought blessing as sweet, amazing, enriching, and transformative as honey from a rock for your community. May you continue to have access to surprising strength, vision, creativity, and energy. And may your generosity be repaid with love and the intense satisfaction of seeing the impact of your efforts. May you go from strength to strength. Much love.
And now we turn to you, Margot, for your address.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for those beautiful words. So I want you to know that today is my father's yahrzeit, the 6th of Kislev. Coincidentally, our celebration, which was originally scheduled for April, was postponed to the exact date my beloved father left this world 32 years ago. What he left behind, besides our 2 young family, my mom, Elaine, my siblings, Sharon and Eric, and me, was a legacy of passionate involvement and investment in Jewish communal life. At 54 years old, 5 years younger than I am now, he left a mark on Jewish communal institutions, schools, and synagogues. In the wake of his passing, we gathered the strands of his teaching to us, his commitments to tzedakah and Jewish life, and his lifelong personal examples of integrity and the desire to help others. Thus, the Alan A. Stein Family Foundation came into being. Soon afterwards, I moved to Philadelphia to attend rabbinical school. My mother and her new husband, now our children's beloved grandpa, Bernie Roberts, moved up to the Berkshires. They got involved with PJ Library up there and began a friendship with Harold Grinspoon. When Harold mentioned that he would be interested in expanding PJ Library to a new city, maybe Philadelphia, my mom jumped on it and said, well, my daughter lives there. Maybe we can help. So help we did. The Alan A. Stein Foundation gave the seed money that brought PJ Library to Philadelphia with the partnership and support of A-Cage, which is now this organization, Jewish Learning Venture, and CMS Companies, who also provided financial partnership. And we leveraged a modest investment into huge results, helping several thousand families to begin a Jewish library for the children in their homes. Only something was missing. What about our children with developmental delays, processing disorders, sensory issues, intellectual disabilities, and so on? The birth of Rafi was an adventure that took Miriam and me in a whole new direction. And we found a Jewish community that wasn't always ready for us. This was 19 years ago. But soon, we found fellow travelers in Gabby and Fred as they worked with the challenges that George was experiencing. And then Michelle Greenfield began her rabbinical studies, proving herself a dedicated teacher of children with disabilities, brilliant in creativity and joyful energy. And Jamie Bassman rounded out our crew as Julian's needs became more clear and her work as a talented occupational therapist was brought to bear on behalf of kids like ours. I remember a week spent with Michelle going through every PJ Library book that had been published so far, stacks and stacks of them, selecting the ones that might be appropriate for kids with processing difficulties, receptive language delays, visual and sensory traffic jams that made most illustrations look like moving puzzles. I mean, many of these books did not work for our kids. We were going to have to think more deeply about how to nourish the spiritual lives of special children. As Gabby detailed earlier, Rabbi Phil Warmflash was eager to jump on board, a willing champion and an enthusiastic partner for whole community inclusion. You've heard something about what we accomplished right off the bat and how we've grown over these past years. I want to tell you what we're up to next in this pandemic. I want to tell you how your generosity is going to impact lives. Because of you, all of you who have given so generously to this project, we will be able to continue our signature programs like the Rita Emerson Teen Assistant Program, where our teenagers are taught the skills they need to accompany children in the Jewish classroom. The Disability Inclusion Consortium continues, which includes my dear friends Chani and Zev Baram. Give a shout out to our partner organization, the Friendship Circle, and Inclusion Awareness Shabbat across Philadelphia, plus professional development and family programming. But for many years, educators have asked us to provide training for teachers similar to what we provide for the TAP teens. So we will be presenting a 3-part online learning session for teachers, which will focus on learning disabilities, autism, and mental health challenges in the Jewish classroom. New resources are added to the J-Kid Access website for families each month. So next up is a big Hanukkah section that will feature new video teaching kids and family Jewish holiday words in American Sign Language. Go to jkidaccess.org to see more. Our first virtual program for families for Hanukkah will feature all the accessible and inclusive elements that we like to have at our in-person events, specially designed craft projects, visual schedules, social stories. Other holiday celebrations throughout the year will continue to break new ground in meeting the sensory and visual needs of our kids. We will produce a second J-Kid Access Guide training to help our partner organizations make their family engagement programs more accessible and inclusive in the pandemic and beyond. We will get past this. So, our partnership with Inclusion Innovations will produce a webinar series that Gabby mentioned called Everyone's Welcome, which will bring worldwide experts in inclusion into our community virtually twice a month. And new resources are in the works for educators and clergy to use during Jewish Disability Awareness, Acceptance, and Inclusion Month, which is in February. Our world famous B'nai Mitzvah tutor training program will continue to help tutors meet the needs of those with learning differences. And our consulting, workshops, trainings, one-on-ones, groups, and school-wide trainings and more will be able to grow to meet the increasing demand for support that so many of our community organizations are experiencing right now. So we have a lot of work to do. And with your support, we will be able to reach out further and further to help make that happen. So I am enormously grateful for your support, really truly moved by the outpouring of support of all of you, and so many of my friends and family members are here today. But I am especially grateful and want to mention my beloved spouse and life partner, Miriam Klotz, for her ongoing and daily support for my work with families in the special needs community and including in my growing therapy practice. And I'm grateful to Sam, our 26-year-old son, who exemplifies so much of what a special sibling can do to bring joy and healing to these challenges. And to my son, Aryeh, who set the bar high and left us way too soon and is missed every single day. And to Rafi, who opens the hearts of all. All who know him know that he's filled with life, with curiosity, with questions, and a deep desire to connect. To Rabbi Dale Friedman, David Furliger, Juliet Spitzer, and Phil Wax, I simply could not ask for better friends than you. You have co-hosted this event, and it has been successful beyond anything we could have hoped for. Your generosity and giant hearts inspire me to be a better version of myself. To Mom, Bernie, Sharon, Eric, and Lauren, and my amazing nieces and nephews. You have believed in me and supported this work from the beginning, and I am so lucky to have you as my family. And dear community, from the moment I landed here in 1989, I knew I was among special friends. Come, let us do this inspiring work together and transform our community in partnership with the Holy One.
Margot, yes, we've all got to do that. We are just, brimming with gratitude here. And so we have a photo to show you of a work of art. I really wish I could just present it to you through the screen, but I'm going to bring it to your home this week and leave it for you. So I believe we've got an image to show you. But this beautiful work of art will be yours, Margot, to remember this day and to remember the gratitude that we feel for you.
Wow. Oh, that is so, so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for that gift.
You're
We
so
can't wait to
welcome.
put it
And
somewhere in our home.
A beautiful home.
Yes. Thank you.
you're so welcome. Anna, I'll turn it over to you now.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Anna Marks. I am the co-acting executive director of Jewish Learning Venture. Margot, it has truly been an honor to honor you. You have been such an inspiration to our community and such a source of wisdom for so many of us. The outpouring of love for you has been absolutely incredible. We have seen so many lovely messages about everyone's excitement to participate in this event. And it's definitely evident in the incredible success of the fundraising campaign that went along with preparing for today's program. There were so many generous gifts, and we did, I'm so pleased to say, earn the matching gift that your family foundation generously offered up for $25,000. And we had a record-breaking event, and those of you who wish to go look at the page can be amazed. In honor of Rabbi Margot Stein, we raised $227,000. It is unreal. And it's in honor of you. It's because of so much love for you and for the work that you started, the support for Jewish Learning Venture, and the critical work of welcoming families and making sure that children of every ability have a warm, inclusive space in every space that we offer. I have a lot of people to say thank you to, because it truly takes a village to make something like this happen. Our honorary chairs, Juliet Spitzer and Phil Wax, and Rabbi Dale Friedman and David Furliger. We also thank the event chairs, Jamie and Barack Bassman, and Judy Beck and Richard Busis, for all of their hard work to make today such a success. We have one of the greatest boards in the world, and I must thank our board and trustees who have given so much generous support financially, but also with your energy and your words of wisdom and all you do, especially to our president, Walter First, who you heard from at the beginning of today's event, and the person who you did not get to hear from, Marcy Bassine, the vice president of institutional advancement, who really led the charge to make today the success that it was. I want to thank every member of the event committee, Rabbi Michelle Greenfield for that beautiful tribute to Rafi. We heard from lovely musicians today. Rabbi Sean Zevit was accompanying Margot on one of the pieces. The members of Mirage, who recorded a brand new piece using Gabby's words, Juliet Spitzer and Rabbi Razel Raphael. I want to thank Doug Interante, who is a person who made the video for WCI. He did that as a gift to us, and it is a gorgeous film, and he was somebody who was brought to us by a friend of our agency, Aaron Smith, and we're very grateful for that connection. And of course, I have to say thank you to my colleagues. I am blessed every single day to get the opportunity to work with the greatest team. I'm gonna just tell you their names really quickly. Irina Krachik, Robin Cohen, Lisa Littman, Alana Raffel, Mikey Hess-Weber. We have 7 J-Kid Philly parent ambassadors, Anna, Cindy, Dawn, Stephanie, Barry, Donna, and Robin. And we have especially need to say thank you to the development team, who worked really, really hard behind the scenes and are at work right this moment hard to make this happen. Charlie Hirsch, who is our rock star administrator, Elise Unterberger, who you make every event, virtual or otherwise, elegant, welcoming, and beautiful. Robin Matthews, who designed every gorgeous thing you have seen and did many of the videos you watched. And especially, I need to say thank you to my counterpart, my friend, Gabby Kaplan-Mayer. You make everything so wonderful and such a joy. And most importantly, I have to say thank you to all of you who contributed your time, your energy, your money, which is just a recognition of the energy and love for Margot and for the work we're doing with Jewish Learning Venture. Before I go, I want to let you know that we are going to be recording these chat messages that you've been leaving. And so I encourage you, if anything else you want to make sure that Margot gets to hear from you, we're going to make sure that she gets to see it. I know, Margot, you've probably been very busy listening and not able to read them all. We are going to get them to you. So please feel free to leave your last messages with her. Thank you, all of you. I strongly encourage you to go check out jewishlearningventure.org and jkidaccess.org. And we're going to leave you now with some lovely music.
presence of love, calling on the presence of love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us, even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved. Presence of love, calling on the presence of love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us, even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are not too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. 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 Blessed are you, Holy One, love of the world. Calling on the presence of love. Calling on the presence of love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us. Even when we are hidden from ourselves, we are touched by fingers that soothe us. Even when we are too proud for soothing, we are counseled by voices that guide us. Even when we are too embittered to hear, we are loved by an unending love. Calling on the presence of love. Calling on the presence of love. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us. Even when we are hidden from ourselves, we are touched by fingers that soothe us. Even when we are too proud for soothing, we are counseled by voices that guide us. Even when we are too embittered to hear, we are loved